directional microphone.
So I'm here at WLUW 88.7 FM, Chicago Sound Alliance, broadcasting from Loyola University, Chicago Water Tower campus, and I'm here with one of my best friends ever, longtime friend, a member, vice president of the Rogers Park Chamber of Commerce, president of the Buy Black Alliance, and host of a podcast called Tinman Live, a musician who's writing songs again, and a doggy dad.
Yeah, my baby Diamond.
Your baby Diamond, yeah. Why don't you scoot over a little bit so we can see on this? Yeah.
Okay,
and Diamond is the cutest little waggy tail. Diamond is it, and you can see Diamond on Mark's podcast all the time.
Diamond gets her own show.
Diamond.
She captured the neighborhood by storm, and she's got her own. I've developed a little show. She's really the star of Tinman Live, not me.
I was gonna say co-host, but you said it's her show,
she's
so
really the star.
Yeah. and I've been on Tinman Live twice live.
Guest live in the studio.
I've been a live guest twice.
You were there.
I came over to the studio.
Okay.
And also when I was in Clark Manor, when I was so bad, when I was all messed up, I was on a lot of heavy narcotics.
Right.
A lot of painkillers.
I had to take care of Bill. I had to make sure he was okay.
And Mark gave me someone to talk to and something to do while I was incapacitated on the bed, where I couldn't leave the bed, when I was bedridden, when I was sad and on drugs and depressed and horribly, severely injured. I appreciate that, Mark.
No problem. Yeah.
All right.
That's what friends are for. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I remember.
And I remember I remember when you were going through the trials and tribulations with your dad and all,
Oh yeah.
And I had to make sure I was there in support too. So, and plus, and folks, Bill was limping around like the Mr. Limpet, He was in pain, excruciating pain, even through the services and everything. I was like, it's all right, man.
And you came to my dad's memorial and funeral and repast, I guess. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That was awesome. That was really, really awesome. And it's some hard times. So you came up with your song. You've been wanting to do music for a long time.
Right. My music roots goes back to, high school days actually. But it started to really encapsulate and formulate my style and everything once I hooked up with a band at Columbia College, and I took record production 1 and 2 with Willie Horton, which was a renowned producer back then.
Willie Horton.
The Willie Horton, who produced groups like the Ohio Players, and I think he worked with the Blues Brothers or something, And out of Universal Studios, I forgot the location, but we had to come down to Universal Studios for our final exam. So the class was broken up into groups of like 5 or 6 per group, and our final exam was to actually go into Universal Studios and actually produce and record a song. So all of the other groups in the class had to hire musicians, to perform the song in the studio. However, in my group, coincidentally, everybody in my group played an instrument and sang.
What did you play?
I played keyboards and I sang. Percussions, piano. On the first song, I played piano and sang background vocals. Bruce Kulick, I don't know if he's still doing his musical thing, but he was pretty hot right back in them days. He wrote the song, You're the Only One. That was the name of the song. And my background vocals was, you're the only one that can make me feel this love. It was almost like, sounded like the Archies, like, So it was kind of quintessential pop, back then. and yeah,
Classic.
I was playing
Classic.
playing
Yeah.
you know, basic chords. I had to keep that, you know, that beat up, you know, through the piano, and it was quite interesting. I was nervous going in there. I was like, oh crap, you know. We rehearsed it a few times ahead of time, and went into the studio, and you know, I was blown away. It was, I think it was in like Studio B. You know, there was A for the real big boys and the orchestras and all like that, and then we were in Studio B, and it was quite exhilarating. And that's what, you know, I was like, well, if I can do this, I can go on and work with other groups and stuff. So over the years, I've worked with bands like Just Nuts, and I've toured with, and I also did video production at the same time. My company was called Video Works. So I toured with the Mary Wong comedy team, and one of the members, Ali Leroy. I went to his house. He had a little mini studio in his house, and we recorded the Video Works theme song. And it was more of a funky, you know, funky beat, boom, 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 boom. Video Works, the Video Works.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I was singing in the background, the Video Works, you know, and we had a little different parts. You know, we had a girl, you know, can you edit my video? I was like, sure. So, you know, it just, you know, my musical aspects just kept growing after that. In high school, we was actually into like Led Zeppelin. Those were my roots, you know, Motown, blues, jazz, and actually the first band I formed in, it was just a high school band, and we just did Stairway to Heaven from, you know, Zeppelin stuff, and that was a heavy influence too, you know, Jimmy Page and stuff. And I was like, yeah, I want to play like that, because when I was a kid, you know, when I was like 7, 8 years old, I was taking, you know, my mother had me take piano lessons. And
did you like that?
No. No, I did not like that at all, because I was playing this sappy children's stuff. It was okay to learn, you know, it was cool to learn the basics. Okay, well, I got that down, but you know, man, teach me how to play some of the stuff I'm hearing on the radio.
Little Richard?
Yeah, Little Richard. I'm hearing Motown, and you know, the Jackson 5 and Stevie Wonder and all this and that. And then you know, I was like, okay, fine. And the guy was cool and all, you know, but and then there was this nun that was teaching me piano lessons back in the day too, right before I hooked up with Mr. Martin. It was Sister Luke, and she was Catholic, and I went to a Catholic school, and she had the little ruler,
like the Blues Brothers.
Yeah, and it was straight out of that, you know. And she had the ruler, and I'm, you know, tapping my fingers with the ruler, and I'm like, what the hell are you doing? I'm trying to play it like I want to play it, you know, or the way you want me to play it, but I'm adding my own little accents to it also. So
You're feeling it.
I was feeling it, and through those lessons, I wanted to like rock out and everything, and do some jamming and some blues and some reggae and R&B and everything, and they weren't going in that direction. They, you know, I got tired of Mary Had a Little Lamb and The Little Boy That Could and all like that. So after that, I started just practicing on my own at home. You know, we had a piano at home. I'm like, okay, I'm going to learn this. I developed my own style of playing, and that's what really broke me into the music scene. And eventually, you know, a couple of people said, man, you're not bad. Can you come down to the, you know, and record on our CD? And I'm like, hey, no problem. And that's what did it. And eventually, as the years went by, I decided to, you know, because a lot of people at that time, going solo was the big thing also. And I decided to, you know what, maybe I can experiment and maybe do a solo project. So what I did was I started forming my own bands. The first band I formed was, it was more percussion oriented. It was called Mosaic. And during that time, I was also playing with a band called Drumbo. And that's when I picked up...
Very percussion focused.
That's when I picked up the percussions. I started buying kungas, bongos, timbales, you know, percussion instruments. So now I developed my skills as a percussion player also, besides keyboard player. And from Drumbo, I formed my own band and pulled in a couple of former Drumbo members, and we formed a band called Mosaic. And I was writing songs. That's when I really got comfortable about writing my own songs.
Mosaic.
Okay. And it was we put out a CD. It was probably like about 8 songs or something. And I was doing the keyboards and I played the congos. I did the percussion solos in a couple of songs, and it just developed from there. And after Mosaic, that's when Just Nuts, that I told you about,
the band,
my band, the band Just Nuts, asked me to come in and perform with them on their CD.
Were you doing drums or bass?
I was doing keyboards and percussions, and that's about it. I didn't sing at all on that CD. It was basically keyboards and percussions on there. And I'm on like 7 or 8 songs. The CD did get some substantial airplay. It was on sale at Val's Hallis out in Oak Park. I'm not sure of all the other musical outlets that the CD was in, but yeah, it got some reasonable airplay and everything. A couple of good songs. They redid. If you guys remember Godzilla from Blue Oyster Cult.
Yeah, go Godzilla.
They did an awesome rendition of Godzilla. And that was their closing show for the live shows. That's the last song, and the crowd would always chant, "Godzilla, play Godzilla." And that's how that kicked off. And so during that period, right after that, that's when I decided, and then the techno age was coming into play right around that time. We're talking right around 1991 to 1996. And the lead, the front man for Just Nuts passed from cancer, and the band went through a couple of incarnations and tried to revamp their style. It's mostly funk rock, hard rock. That was their motif. That was their genre.
And I remember, I always followed when I was in my band, or when I wanted to be in a band, or before when I was just interested in all of the live music scene, support local music. I used to read the Illinois Entertainer, like it was a Bible. I used to make notes what clubs I wanted to play, and what shows I wanted to see, and what in the back they had the instruments for sale and all of the different advertisements for the music shops. I had to visit them all, and I was all about it. And I remember seeing Just Nuts on there.
We were everywhere. The band was everywhere.
I remember seeing them.
I never really got a chance to do a live show with Just Nuts, being on stage with them performing live, because I was always behind the camera. I was also, at the time, remember, I started a company called Video Works Production Company. And I was their video producer. I was doing their videos, recording. We made music. We made about 3 music videos with Just Nuts. I had an editor. We had an editing suite at DePaul University at the time. But at that time, Video Works, my production company, became the #1 small in-house video production company in the city. So I was just totally engulfed in music then. My clients I had the best clients in the city. The Vanessa Davis Band, if anybody from old school remembers Vanessa Davis, she was the hottest act in the city. And we did her shows at the Park West and a couple of other venues. I recorded that with multi-cameras. Mary Wong Comedy Team, which was on Second City, HBO, Showtime, and others. And later on, Chris Rock became their manager, and they kind of splintered off. And we had Chicago City Ballet, the city's ballet troupe. Larry Tankston of Tankston's Martial Arts. I did videos, so I was pretty much engulfed in the video production, and I wanted to focus on that too, more so than my playing.
So when my dad was alive, Bill's Digital Photos was his company he made,
right?
And he took great pictures of us all the time. But one thing he always said was, if you're the photographer, you never get your picture taken.
You're right.
If you're the photographer, you never get your picture taken. If you're the videographer, you're never on the viewing end of the camera.
Mm-hmm.
If you're the music producer, you know,
Mm-hmm.
if you're the sound guy, how could you be on the stage?
Exactly. So, like I said, once I started one business, I focused on that. You know, I never really let go of playing. You know, I was still playing music, you know, by myself at home or whatever in the background, and thinking of tunes, and all during that time, right after video production became expensive to maintain all the equipment, the camera equipment. Right around that time, the industry was evolving so fast that once you bought cameras and recording equipment and stuff, they became obsolete after a year or so.
I remember Can TV. We had these big. I was a producer at Can TV, and then it was Media One in Elmhurst. I was there as well, and we had these big tapes, these three-quarter inch tapes.
Yeah, that was the era.
Yeah, and those were huge.
That's
those
what
were
we were recording.
and then if you don't have the player, you can't work it at
That's
home.
right.
You've got to go to the studio, plug that big tape in.
They were huge, man. They were like, man, they were big as these speakers you got in the studio here.
And then the thing is,
the machines were huge.
Yeah.
And so that's
exactly.
I was editing on those. I was shooting my clients with. At that time, this was a popular camera. This was a 8mm. It was called the Sony Super 8.
They're Super 8 tapes.
The Super 8 tapes, and I was recording with those. And so what we would have to do is I would record the bands and the acts with, you know, my Super 8, and then we would have to take it to the university and bounce those tapes and record those onto
with the 3/4 inch?
The 3/4 inch tapes.
Yeah.
I forgot the process that we did.
It's got to go through the machines.
It went through another recorder and then going into the 3/4 inch. And then that's how we edited on the 3/4 inch. So right around that time, as Just Nuts went to California, and I regret, you know, they wanted me to come on tour with them, because that's when they were at their, I would say, their peak, you know. But I was still focused on video works and everything, and I decided to, at that time, I decided to start writing and recording some more songs. And I was like, now we're going into the techno age. I want to experiment. I wasn't boxed into one particular music genre. Like, I'm totally an R&B artist and that's all I do. Or I'm totally a rock artist and that's all I do. Or a jazz artist. I did it all, you know, whatever, when I had the opportunity. So when the tech age came up around that time, I decided to do a tech album, and I created another persona called Kylo, Kylo.
So it's like electronic music.
Like, this was totally electronic, although I was programming it on my computer, you know what I mean? And that's how my persona called Kylo came about. And I recorded some nice stuff there. It was like about 12 songs on a CD, and the CD got played in the clubs, you know, the nightclubs in Chicago, because I was also a vendor, you know.
A vendor?
Yeah, I was.
What kind of vendor were you?
I was a merchandise vendor. I was.
Oh, like T-shirts?
T-shirts. Actually, during that time period, I started making. We're going into the mid to late '90s. I started making jewelry. I was starting handcrafting jewelry, and I made necklaces, bracelets, anklets for women, earrings and stuff. And then I started buying wholesale handmade items like the fanny packs that were popular, the popular friendship bracelets, belts, suits, T-shirts, you know, all handmade stuff. And so since I was touring with all these acts and the bands and the comedy acts and all like that, I was traveling around the country and you know, setting up my stand in different clubs. And eventually, some of the owners of the club said, "Mark, you know, you don't have to be with the band every time you come here. You can come down here on other nights as well." Like, remember Billy Mulligan's?
Oh, Billy Mulligan's. That was on Sheridan Road in
Rogers Park.
Buddy Guy played there. Rolling Stones played there.
Actually, and I became their main vendor. And they all said, you can come without the band. We have other nights, because I was showing up on nights
Reggae?
with my reggae. I was touring with the band Roots Rock Society, and I was still playing my percussion. They allowed me to come up on stage a couple of times and jam with them also during some live shows. So eventually, the managers or the owners of these clubs played, some of them played my music on the PA, but also they said, if you want to come down, we got such and such coming, like I see it, Buddy Guy or whatever. We got Buddy Guy coming down Tuesday night. You want to set up for that? I'm like, yeah, sure. I even got into, there was a mega club called the Change of Pace in Springfield, Illinois. I broke into them from being with Roots Rock Society, the band I toured with, the reggae band, which at that time was, again, one of the hottest bands in the Midwest. And the owners or the managers let me come down on my own after that without the band.
So you were traveling to Springfield?
I was traveling to Springfield, and coincidentally, one night I set up, Edgar Winter played. Frankenstein.
Wow.
Edgar Winter. And Edgar Winter asked me, do you want to sell my merchandise on your stand? I'm like, are you kidding me? Having Edgar Winter stuff on my stand, and sure enough, I had the Edgar Winter t-shirts and all that. And then on the other side of the stand, I had my stuff, the handmade jewelry I made and all like that. So, during that time, Kylo was popping also. And the problem I had with bands in Chicago, and perhaps this is what bands all around, is a lot of musicians are hired hands, and they're not.
They're hired guns.
Hired guns. And
they're sidemen.
Sidemen, and they're not really committed to one band. And there was an occasion when I was the vendor at the Playhouse in Forest Park. I moved to Forest Park, relocated there, and I had my band slated to play at this club in Forest Park, the Playhouse. It was real popular. The place would pack. And my bass player told me right before the show started that, Mark, I just got an offer to play this show at the Wild Hare or whatever, and it's paying more than your show's going to pay.
But he committed to your show.
No, he didn't.
Oh, he never committed to your show.
He never committed to the show.
Okay.
At first he did, but like the day before the show, he called me up. He says, I'm going to do this gig and blah, 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 blah. I'm like, well, now I'm going to be without a bass player. So I had to cancel. I couldn't do the show without a bass player. So I had to cancel that show. And I got so ticked off that, and there was another guy, that was joining the band. He was actually with Parliament Funkadelic, George Clinton. And
Bootsy Collins.
He copped an attitude. He was the drummer. One of the drummers. They had spare drummers. And we fell out. And I got so ticked off that I just disbanded the whole thing and started focusing more on, future projects and all like that. And in the back of my mind, I had a lot of stuff that was either pre-recorded or songs that I'd written down, and they were just shelved, all these years.
For a long, long time.
For a long, long time.
Because those days you're talking about were like way back.
Way back.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so when I started Tinman Live, before I started Tinman Live, I went back to writing songs again, and I decided to do a Tinman Live theme song, which you guys can hear, by going on YouTube, Tinman Live at 0749, I believe it is.
Okay.
0749.
You can say that again.
Tinman Live is the site, and it's 0749. Actually, if you just type in Tinman Live on the search bar, you'll pop up. And just, make sure you go at Tinman Live 0749, and my page will come up there. And so I actually wrote the song, almost a year before the theme song for Tinman Live, almost a year before we actually broke ground and went live, with the first live live stream of Tinman Live.
When you're saying the first live stream of Tinman Live, you're talking about your newer, your latest, your current podcast.
Exactly.
You wrote the theme song, a year before you aired.
About
your
a year
first
before,
episode.
yeah, because I started building the studio for Tinman Live from scratch. It took almost 2 years to complete the studio. I just didn't want to set up a camera and live stream through a camera, a regular phone camera or whatever. Since I had the knowledge of technology, the background to build a studio, I decided to take my time, purchase the right equipment, the equipment that I could afford,
Right.
and saved up some money.
A little piecemeal.
Piecemeal, saved up to buy a board, a sound board, the proper cameras, the microphones and everything, designed the setup for the studio and everything so that I could have guests like you came in for the debut show.
I was there for the debut show,
Mm-hmm.
and I got to sit in a leather chair.
Yep.
And I had Diamond jumping on my lap, and it was wonderful.
Mm-hmm. And Diamond took over Bill. She took him over.
Oh, Diamond and I are in love.
In love.
Yeah.
And so
sweet dog.
during that period of building the studio, I decided, let's go all out. I decided to come full circle in my life.
Mm-hmm.
I'm leaving out some little iotas like my barbecue. I started a barbecue business that you remember.
Oh, yeah.
Back in the days, barbecue, and it became
so
real
good you won't even want the sauce.
Yeah, it became real popular back then, and I retired from that after I fell and broke my hand.
Mm-hmm.
And at the location that we had back in the days, barbecue, and I decided, well, it's time to move on. My audience, my crowd for the ribs, it was sporadic because I had a huge audience in Forest Park. I had a huge audience up north. When I worked for corporate America, I had a huge audience, or shall I say clientele, for that. So
following.
The following was widespread, but it was like broken up into different pockets. And so once I had that accident, and I had 3 or 4 people from the Mariano's team that I worked with Mariano's for a while, and I gathered up, quite a team, and a delivery driver. We were
Mm-hmm.
delivering all over the city.
And I remember I was at your premiere of Back in the Days Barbecue
Mm-hmm.
at that location.
Mm-hmm.
I remember that.
Yeah.
And you had a whole bunch of people. You had a nice
Had a whole
tasting.
bunch of people, and
The
then
whole place was packed.
and after that, we had a brick and mortar location also, for a little bit further south,
Mm-hmm.
and that didn't work out too well because I partnered with a guy that didn't want to run the business like a restaurant. He wanted to run it like a this is just something I do on the side. He wasn't showing up for work until like 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock.
Well, let me tell you a little story about this.
Mm-hmm.
With the Rogers Park Chamber of Commerce, we're
Mm-hmm.
working with people who own restaurants all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I gave advice to one of the restaurant owners of a Chinese place, blow that wonderful smell, that chicken smell or whatever you're cooking out the front door, and the people will come in.
Mm-hmm.
And because I said it, I think, and it wasn't his idea, even though it was a great idea, it
Mm-hmm.
could have gotten him a whole bunch of business. He wasn't interested. And there's only so much you can do
Mm-hmm.
if someone doesn't want the help or the advice, or doesn't want to actually do the job,
Exactly.
or run it or work with you.
Yeah, and the guy, he had a taco joint. It was a Mexican fella, real nice guy, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
He had a taco joint, but he liked to party all night with his wife. His business was failing. At that time, I lived right down the street. And I would come, and he made some pretty decent tacos, but every time I would come in there to eat some tacos, nobody was in there. And I asked him, what's going on? How come nobody is in here? Your tacos are pretty good. He was like, I don't know, man, blah, 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 blah. So I was like, well, you know what? I have a barbecue business, and maybe we should, team up. I can bring my barbecue business. My following will come here. And he was like, let me think about it. And so what I did was the next day I came with my laptop and I showed him the presentation of Back in the Days Barbecue. And he took one good look at it. He looked at me and said, "When can you come and set up?"
Yeah.
So, the following week we were set up, and we did a grand opening there for Back in the Days Barbecue. And like the event that you was at, I had the place packed. I did the live. That's when and I never really gave up live broadcasting through video, because we were actually broadcasting through Ustream at the time. Ustream is actually the mother of YouTube. So in other words, YouTube is the spin-off baby of Ustream. Before there was YouTube, there was Ustream.
The first idea was Ustream.
Ustream, right. And so
and I remember with the Rogers Park Chamber of Commerce, this was like towards the beginning of YouTube, or before YouTube, before that purchase or the switch over from Ustream to YouTube. You were using Ustream for the multifaceted network.
Network. I started
Livestream.
A livestream
And you
network.
were one of the few people doing live streams during that era, before YouTube. And I remember that.
Before Facebook. When I started,
it was MySpace back then.
MySpace, there was MySpace, and then Facebook came along and blew out MySpace. But Facebook was not live streaming back then. You couldn't live stream through Facebook back then. At that time, I started MFN. I designed MFN to be the new Facebook.
So why don't you describe MFN? What do you
Multifaceted network. A lot of people thought it went Mark Finley network, but actually it was multifaceted network. It was designed to bring all facets of commerce, music, comedy, all together. It was almost like a chamber of commerce, only through the internet.
Through the internet and the media.
And I subdivided it into broadcasting, live streaming, conferences, video conferencing, news, events, music, so on, so on, so on. So I actually had a bank on, or so I say a link on MFN for live streaming. And so we used that to live stream my events and everything. I was into the BBA at the time too.
The Buy Black Alliance.
And
Silent Dollars.
And we did all of the events through Ustream. And it got to a point when I had the accident, where I broke my hand. I lost my delivery driver, and something just told me, Mark, you had a great run at this. It's time to move on, and maybe go back to your first loves of music, and just focus on that in live broadcasting. And that's when I started slowly thinking about, okay, how can I do this? How can I effectively do this? And back in the days, before I launched my Livestream channels and all like that, and during high school and post-high school, I was on a CB radio. And
okay, so this is pirate radio station. You're not supposed to do that. Right.
And I hooked up, when VideoWorks, my production company, was in full swing. Me and I forgot who was with me at the time, but we was looking at the equipment, and we happened to flip over the backside of this video processor, and it said, "Do not reverse these plugs."
So what'd you do?
I reversed the plugs because my crazy stuff. If you reverse the plugs, you will be live broadcasting over the air.
It said that on the thing?
Yes, it said it.
Why wouldn't people do that?
And I was like, really?
Uh-huh.
Okay, so I am living in this complex where there is no cable. This is when cable was first becoming prominent. But in my area, in my neighborhood, cable was not prominent because a lot of buildings wasn't hooked up with cable.
Right.
So I said, I'm going to provide cable, my own version of cable, since I have a video production company with the hottest acts in Chicago. Why don't we, do it?
How'd it work?
It worked fine. It worked fine. Fan mail, people were requesting. Excuse me.
Mm-hmm.
My clients was coming over and coming on camera live. People were watching. I was showing movies like Star Wars and stuff. Almost 24/7. The problem was, it's a hell of a task to keep that going 24 hours like a cable channel.
Mm-hmm.
Good. So eventually, that wore me out, and I didn't want to keep risking broadcasting like that without a license, a broadcast license. Although, it was rumored that if the FCC caught me, they would probably just come in and confiscate my equipment and all like that. But after a while, I just, it wore on, and I told people, if you subscribe to this channel, and we were broadcasting on Channel 4. A lot of people thought that I was broadcasting on like Channels 3, Channel 7, and we weren't. We was broadcasting on our own Channel 4, which was wide open at the day. So eventually digital TV came around and knocked us off the board. That's pretty much the end story.
All right, I've got to do a station ID.
Gotcha.
It's time for a station ID.
Okay.
We're here with Mark Finley, Vice President of the Roxbury Chamber of Commerce, host of Tinman Live podcast, musician, former back in the days barbecue owner, all kinds of things. And we'll be right back. You are listening to WLUW 88.7 FM, broadcasting from Loyola University Chicago Water Tower campus. Enjoy Bach Enters the Doom Cathedral. Awesome. That's working out. Now, I'm not sure. I'm thinking this might be covering up your face. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop this and then turn it around, and we can see what's going on. Why not? Yeah, I'm going to just check it again for us.
Okay.
And get another cup of coffee while we have the Doom Cathedral playing. No, it was a great interview.
Mm-hmm.
No, I think I got you. Put that microphone back where it was, could you? And let me just take a... Oh, we're good. We're still good. We got a nice angle here. I thought maybe it was in front of your face too much. But this one should get you just fine. I don't know how much of a project you want to do, but I got two angles here, and then this is just phone sound. I've got the actual radio station recording, and if you wanted to sync it up, you could. I could give that to up to you. We all got things we're doing.
All of it.
All right, you got it then.
All of it.
You got it.
Yeah. That gives me something to play with.
Yeah, and
experiment. And
that might be real cool because next time you come over, we'll even do better. We'll understand what's going on. First time,
Because I'll experiment. I'll probably just make different versions of it.
Yeah, do little shorts or whatever. Yeah.
Video version, everything like that. Because there's three different versions of Chill Party.
Yeah.
There's one without my voice in there. If you heard my voice in there a couple times, I'm on there. There's one without it.
Yeah.
There's one without the other audio effects like the sirens and the crowd cheers and all like that.
Well, I've got the two different versions of
Rise Up, Fight Back.
Yeah, Rise Up, Fight Back. Mm-hmm. I took the video off of your. I took the sound off your video, and actually I took the audio track without the video front thing for 2 minutes, and I took out the two shits. I reversed the two shits real tight, and then I added, for one version it was just that, and the other version I added all that intro stuff, all those news articles, and I thought that was cool too. So yeah. So let's play.
Let's get into that.
Let's get into that and get that going. It's what time is it now? It's
after 9.
After 9.
It's like that because I'm gonna have to get going in a little while.
All right, let's get into that. Let's get my little.
Yeah, it's 9:16.
All right, sounds good because we only have till 10 anyway.
Okay.
But this is really great. I'm glad to have you here.
Oh yeah, thank you.
And in the future, if you ever want to come over again and we do, if you want to live stream or anything you want to do, we've got all kinds of things we can do here.
Okay.
You know. But it's looking good. So I'm going to play clean version part 2, which is going to have that big intro in it first. Oh yes, we're back. This is Trudy Leong Interviews on WLUW 88.7 FM, Chicago Sound Alliance, broadcasting from Loyola University Chicago Water Tower campus. And I'm back here with our special guest and one of my best friends ever, Mark Finley. Welcome back, Mark.
Great to be back. Thanks for having me, Bill.
All right, so we are going to get into
Rise Up, Fight Back.
Rise Up, Fight Back. You're wearing the shirt. I was just I want to make sure I got it right.
Yeah.
I've heard it on your podcast.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen the video on YouTube.
Correct.
And I think it's time to play it on the radio for the first time ever.
This will be the first time. This will be the radio broadcast debut.
Excellent.
I appreciate it.
Excellent.
Yeah,
and then maybe afterwards you can describe. I'm going to play the version from the video. You can describe who's speaking at the beginning and what it's about,
Okay.
and all of these great things. Let me just get to it. Okay, here it is. And let's see. This is a little experiment for me. I haven't done it like this before.
But at our best, the United States has been an undeniable force for good in the world.
And police this morning investigating how protesters gate-crashed Pauline Hanson's National Press Club speech. Live to Connor McGovern in Canberra. Connor, they set up a banner above the stage.
Federal prosecutors have announced criminal charges against 15 people in connection with anti-ICE protests in the Twin Cities earlier this year. The defendants are accused of, quote, conspiracy to impede or injure federal officers, unquote.
Here it is. In May, inflation rose to 4.2% year over year, and that's the highest level in 3 years. The report has given us a fresh look at just how much consumer prices have gone up during the Iran war.
I don't believe it because for us to give up, for us to give it now, after all this country's been through, to cynicism and division would be a betrayal of our founding ideas.
Awesome, our microphones are off.
keep us in a place, to limit us to time and space, making us all go through the grind. From East Coast to the West, we are going through some mess, a mess that kills all mankind. Try to make some sort of sense of what a party represents, the take our rights away. Wrote a plan we can't strive, called Project 2025, but it's a brand new day. Hey, when the chips are down and we're under attack, what do we do? Rise up, fight back, took our rights away, throw us in the sack. What do we do? Rise up, fight back. Who's streets? Our streets. Let me tell you now. Who's streets? Who's streets? Our streets. Cut programs for those in need, going to war for nothing but greed. Absolute truth they don't want us to hear. Let there be no mistake, our precious future is at stake, to live our lives without any fear. Executioners in the streets, Renee and Alex just wanted some peace, not what our lives was meant to be. The past has shown the way, that this too shall pass someday. It's time to take the reins, oh baby, can't you see? Oh, when the chips are down and we're under attack, hey, what do we do? Rise up, fight back, took our rights away, throw us in a sack. What do we do? Rise up, fight back. They divided us, we were on the right track. What do we do? Rise up, fight back. They sure don't mean
It's
jack.
fine.
What do we do? Rise up, fight
Not my deal. Not my deal.
Okay.
We're okay. Hi!
Here we go.
We got a little minute before.
Good Lord, save us all. Lord, save us. Good Lord, save us all.
Yeah, we got the studio for certain hours, so whatever that we have the studio for our hours, so it's
Are they?
oh, looks like they're doing podcasts. Let me just stop.
We can't stop now. Ignoring this is just as much
Hi.
sin. We the people
Are you guys using the podcast today?
No, we're gonna do
What?
when the chips are down, we're under attack. What do we do? Rise up, fight back, took our rights away. Throw us in a sack.
Yeah, it's no problem. We're doing an interview right now, but yeah, no problem. We'll move some of the stuff out of the way.
We can just be in here for a little bit. I mean,
I'll be there till just before 10, and I'll leave you guys enough time to do whatever you do.
yeah, we can send back out.
Yeah, sure. Today's the second, right?
What do we do?
Yep.
Rise up, fight back. Rise up, fight back. Rise up, fight back.
Song's about to end.
Wow, how about that? Radio premiere. First time you've ever heard it on the radio is here on WLUW 88.7 FM, broadcasting from Loyola University Chicago Water Tower campus on the show Trudy Leung Interviews. And we have here Mark Finley.
Welcome.
So tell us about Rise Up, Fight Back.
Okay, well, I was inspired to do Rise Up, Fight Back after I became a member of the organization MoveOn.org.
Okay.
And, I participated in a couple of little events with Move On, mainly the marches and stuff. I haven't marched in years. And so when the No Kings rally came around, I decided to march. And actually documented also for Tinman Live. And out of the clear blue, something, it was almost like a little bird told me, rise up, fight back. That kept reverberating through my head. And I'm like, well, I'll tell you what, since I'm going back into recording music and writing songs and like that, the flow just started instantaneously. It just started. And I experimented with today's technology of recording music from home, and had software to record at home. And so I decided to experiment. And the only reason, Bill, I went into this is because I wanted to create music similar to the sounds that my band had, how I would play it. That was the deal, if I could replicate my band and how I would play and how I would sing and all the instruments that we would play, then I would go on with this project. So it became an experiment, really. This software and the programming and everything, you can actually contour your voice to make it sound any way you want. I guess it's the new technology of AI and everything that goes into this. And
so you can make your voice any way you want.
Can make your voice any way you want. You can create any type of voice that you want to. So I decided when I wrote the song, I didn't want a man singing the song. I didn't want me singing it. I wanted a woman singing it, because a lot of these marches are headed by women. The Women's March and the chanting and all like that, a lot of them are headed by women doing the chants and everything. And so I decided I want this song to be universal, to the point where there are elements that would appeal to just about any musical taste, basically. So I wanted it to be more of a popular oriented, or let's just say pop, a pop oriented song.
A pop song.
Yeah, kind of a pop song. And I wanted to be as mass appeal as possible, so I wanted to write it in a way that it would incorporate all of the verses of chants that we're familiar with. Stand up, fight back, rise up, fight back, whose streets, our streets, we got the power. All of these phrases you've heard chanted during rallies and marches over the years. And I wanted the female voice to be more of a blend of a popular voice, kind of like a, like a Taylor Swift type of a voice, something like a blend of a Taylor Swift and a Beyonce type of a voice. So once the software or the algorithms, whatever, got the voice down that I wanted it, and you have to implement every element of your band or music into this. You don't want to set this for it to do its own thing, because it's going to do its own thing, and you're more than likely it's not going to like the results. I had to tell it and implement every single instrument in it. Every single instrument. The voice, I had to implement the style, the character, the tone, the emotion. All of that went into creating this song. And so once the final product came out, I was like, wow, this is incredible. And at first it didn't nail it on the first go round. I'm like, okay, not bad, but let's try it this way. You know, it's kind of like
Go ahead.
piecing it together. You know, there's an element of trial and error involved in this, but I wanted it to encapsulate and capture my idea totally. And on the second take, boom, it nailed it. Nailed it better than I anticipated, you know. And so after that, I was like, okay, well, if this worked out, let's do a whole album. You know what I mean? Because, like I said, I wanted this album to reflect on everything and every iota going on in today's society and the internet, the ups, the downs, the good, the bad, the algorithms. There's a title song from the album called Algorithms, and that's coincidentally, by the way, that is the name of the upcoming album. I'm calling it Algorithms, not algorithms, but Algorithms, as in all rhythms. So the album will feature all elements of music, not just pop, not just funk and R&B, but blues, jazz, ambient, you know, so that I can introduce these styles and create new forms of these styles from experimentation also, so that the whole album will kind of like as mass appeal as possible. You know, I have blues roots, so there's a blues song that combines Mississippi Delta and Terrafine blues into the song. You heard one version of it, Bill, but there's actually a new version of the song.
Of this song?
Of the blues song, yeah.
Okay.
And it's called The Good Old Days. And there's a reggae song on there as well. You know, I did reggae. You know, so in other words, I'm actually writing and recording some of the various styles and genres of music that I didn't have the opportunity to do back in the 80s and the 90s and the early 2000s when I did Kylo. So I thought this would be an opportunity to produce an album that will showcase all these genres into one nice package, and a story following the advent of algorithms, the good, the bad, the ugly, all the way to today's protest with the grand finale of Rise Up, Fight Back.
Wow. And you know, I know you've marched in protest. I've marched in protest. We understand the cadence. A lot of this that we heard on there, we've heard at the protest. It very much is about the real protests. And then you have a lot of different examples of like real life things. The lyrics really come together like that.
Exactly. It just came together. And it came together quickly, actually. You know, sometimes it takes me a few days to write a song, and sometimes I can write a song in a few hours, a couple hours. You have to capture it when it comes through your head. When it comes, if you're not able to capture it, you could lose it for a long time, if not forever.
Right.
So I had to capture it. You know, when lightning strikes, you got to catch it in a bottle right quick. And this is one of those cases where lightning just struck. Boom. I nailed it. I caught it. I wrote it down. You know, I started jotting it down. You know, oh God, I got to get this. Ooh, this is. And once I reviewed all of the lyrics, I was like, got to record this. This is it right here. Rise Up, Fight Back. And I dedicated the song to MoveOn.org because they were sending me the little stickers that you could put anywhere for the different rallies and everything, the protests that they did. And I actually sent the song to them first.
Okay.
Before I released it.
So you sent it to MoveOn.org. Were you inspired by MoveOn.org? Or did you send it to them for what reason? Why did you send it to MoveOn.org?
I was inspired. The inspiration came from MoveOn.org constantly sending me emails and updates on their rallies, their marches, the causes, how to donate. You know, they kept coming. So I'm like, okay. And then instantaneously, the phrase "Rise Up, Fight Back" kept popping in my head, and so I really wanted to capture that feeling, that mode. This is what's going on in the world today. This is what's going on in our country today. And so I wanted to really capture that, and I decided, well, why don't I just send that to them? And I gave them permission. I copyrighted the song, paid for the copyrights and everything, and I gave them permission to play or feature the song whichever way they felt, applicable to their events, rallies, marches, whatever. And the rest is history, actually.
Yeah, well, I remember, I was actually in your studio when you premiered it, this song,
right.
on your podcast, the worldwide premiere on your podcast, and then we did it on the radio today. But you've got those, you have those samples before your song. Tell me about who's in the samples and why you chose those, and what is the meaning?
Well, I thought for a few days after the initial song was recorded, completed and everything, it deserves a captivating introduction to the song also. And so I said, well, what would be better introduction to the song than actual news, audio from news clips, from news broadcasts like Amy Goodman from Democracy Now! You hear her meshed in there. I believe there is a CNN. There's like 3 or 4 that I meshed in there.
There's Barack Obama.
Barack Obama's also in there also. And I recorded the opening of the Presidential Center, the Barack Obama Presidential Center. When I recorded that, I decided to slide in a couple of his profound lines, and actually 2 or 3 of them were repeated, and I decided to throw a couple of those in there at the end. The ending of the introduction, it closes out with Barack Obama's phrase
Before the song
comes in, and I had to cleverly fade that out. And also, a lot of these marches, if you guys notice, there's a lot of drumming going on, people beating their drums and all like that. So I wanted that to be the foundation of the song, the background. So it actually, if you listen to the introduction, it starts off with a drum beat. I wanted that drum beat to carry on through the song, not just from the introduction, but through the entire song.
Now that drum beat, I recognize that drum beat from March on Wall Street.
Yeah, and if you listen to the background of the song, if you dig deep into the foundation of the song, you will hear that drum beat intermittent in the song throughout the whole song. And so I cleverly made it start at the beginning and it lasts through the entire song with a little tweaking here and there, a little audio mixing and stuff like that. And it just happened to work out. And the final product is what you heard, you hear.
Now, there are 2 names mentioned in your song, Renee and who?
Renee and Alex Preddy.
Okay, tell us
Renee Good
about that.
And Alex Preddy. Well, Renee Good and Alex Preddy, they were 2 American citizens that were murdered, or shall we say executed, during ICE raids in Minnesota. And the first was Renee Good, and the second was Alex Preddy. They were both captured their executions were captured on live, literally doing some live streamers and other people that were recording. Even Renee's girlfriend recorded some of it also, and that was replayed on and on and on for months. And the same goes with Alex Preddy. Renee was just trying to move her car out of the way because ICE was telling them, move your cars. And Renee said, okay, I'm gonna move my car. When she started moving her car, one of the ICE agents jumped straight in front of the car. And you can see this playing on the video. I still have all the videos. And the agent jumped right in front of the car, blocking her. So the agent, when Renee stopped, her wheels were still turned outward to turn away and drive away. The agent came around to the driver's side, her side, and she just said, "It's okay, sweetie, I'm not mad at you." blah, 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 you're just doing your job or whatever. And for some reason, that ticked him off, and he fired several shots into her window. And a couple of them hit her square in the face and killed her. With Alex Preddy, this happened about a week later. Alex Preddy was also at an ICE event where they were harassing people and everything. And this one woman was wrestled to the ground by ICE agents. They actually threw her on the ground, rough. And he was recording it, and then he dropped his phone to go over and help the woman. So actually, when he reached down to help the woman, she kind of got up and kind of crawled away, but the ICE agents got, ticked off at him, grabbed him, threw him to the ground, and I believe the one that was standing on top of him shot point blank into him several times, killed him on the spot. So all of this was captured at different camera angles. The nation's been out in outrage ever since. You still hear those names, Renee and Alex, mentioned on, different podcasts, radio, live streaming on YouTube and all like that. So I decided it was fitting. I thought about the song, when I was writing it. Renee and Alex, all they wanted was peace, and I was like, okay, let's fit that line in there and see how it works, and it worked out fine. It was history. And actually, there, just for the record, there was other people that was murdered or at least died by the hands of ICE before that. There was a black man in, I believe in LA, that also got murdered by an ICE agent. I think his name was Anthony. I forgot his last name is, slipping my mind right now. But he was actually the first person to get murdered on the spot by ICE during a New Year's Eve celebration. He was out celebrating New Year's, and I'm not sure if he was firing his gun up in the air like a lot of people do or whatever, but this ICE agent heard the shots, came outside, he was off duty, and he decided to just point his gun at him and just shot him down just because he was out there. The only reason it's not getting a lot of coverage is because it wasn't covered live. It wasn't captured live on camera. The whole nation saw Renee and Alex get murdered via video. So
it kind of makes me wonder, what is going on when things are happening and it's not on video?
Mm-hmm.
How many more things are going on?
How many more? There was 2 or 3 other people that died as a result of being manhandled or whatever by ICE. That wasn't on video either. So ICE is responsible for that, and that's the other reason, Rising Up Fight Back is so prominent. I had to release that. I thought about that, and I was like, yeah, this got to go on an album or at least a single, and so that's why I put that out there. And by the way, I want to make a correction for everybody. Tinman Live, which I live stream through on a weekly basis. The actual YouTube address is at Tinman Live 7049, not 7049. It's Tinman Live 7049, just in case anybody wants to go on there. The song is on there in its entirety, and actually there's a captivating music video version that you can watch on Tinman Live right now. It's actually, the music video is everywhere. It's on YouTube, Facebook. You can catch it on Facebook. You can catch it even on Blue Sky. You can catch it on X. You can catch it. It's on TikTok. However, I believe TikTok is shadow banning me because of the theme, the nature of it. I've been having trouble with TikTok for months now. But just about any popular streaming platform outside of TikTok and Instagram, you can watch the video version of Rise Up, Fight Back. And it's worded, the video is worded so you can follow along with the words of the video on there.
And a lot of great footage. Now, we only have a tiny bit of time left. Do you want to just kind of set up a chill party, or do you want to listen to it next time?
Let's go for it right now.
All right. Go ahead.
You want me to say?
Just a minute.
Okay. Well, I have a show on YouTube called Chill Party.
Mm-hmm.
So this is kind of just like a nod to the live stream called Chill Party. I came up with Chill Party to showcase the world going by at night without the mentioning of politics and everything. Because there's a lot of people that don't want to, get into the politic issues and stuff when they watch a lot of live streams. So Chill Party is designed to come on at the end of the week, let's say a Friday night. Every now and then I'll do a Saturday version, but basically it's Friday night starting at around 11 p.m. And really what I do is I just show different live streams of other live streamers out in the streets, capturing different events, be it crime, be it partying, be it just joyous occasions, gatherings, street takeovers, whatever. I have a police scanner, so we capture local Chicago police action on there. And I allow people to come into the chats and discuss whatever they want, except for politics. Politics is not allowed. My podcast during the day is the only time of the day that I allow people to discuss politics. But at night, it's kick back, relax with your coffee, tea, or beverage or whatever, and just relax, watch the world go by without any hassles or politics.
All right, so we're gonna play. We have to end before 10 this morning, so we're gonna play Chill Party.
Here it is. Awesome. So we're gonna play Chill Party, then I'm gonna get out of here. Okay.
I'm gonna just do an outro with you if we have time. That's the next DJ that's coming in for the 10 o'clock, so I gotta kind of clear before 10.
I got you.
And it's just about that time.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
I gotta thank you though, live on the air.
Okay. Cool. Sounds good.
Gotta make that announcement.
So how long is this song? Oh, wait. It's really short. Okay, that's good.
It's 3 minutes long. It's like 3.5 minutes.
Let me just kind of start packing it, and then I'll be able to boogie.
Okay.
What happened? This up? Something's going on here now. All right, it's looking like a technical difficulty here. That was your preview of it. Everything looks good. It's just not playing. Let me try one more time here. Okay. Let's headset speakers. Is it playing? It's very quiet. There we go. Very odd. Okay. For some reason, you can hear it. Oh, that's why.
Oh, yes,
Do it.
Actions roll strong and supersized. Viewer discretion is advised. Drag racing donuts, not hopping bars. Take over girls, twerking on cars. Take it easy now, you're slow and steady. Time to get your popcorn ready. Won't you come along with me as we join the chill party?
Bum, bum, bum.
The chill party.
It's okay. I'll log out of my stuff, which I actually will do right now.
If you dare, live streaming without the tricks, all that you want without politics. Fact from fiction, no time to lie. When we click on Tinman Live, non-stop action, keeping score, make you wanna beg for more. Live lizards hanging in the street, roaming and searching for tricks to meet. Smashing grabs so
See how the song explains everything that goes on?
Yeah, it does. I know. I was listening to it this morning, and it was like really cool.
We're turning up at the chill.
So, I'll mention this on there, but I am working on a music video for this song.
Yeah.
To, you know, for people to follow along.
Yeah.
It won't be worded like Rise Up Fight. It'll just be different clips of
Yeah.
chill party, baby.
That's cool. It's a good jam. And it, yeah, all those spin outs.
Like I said, yeah, hear this.
All that, yeah.
A lot of action going on. See, it kind of documents.
All right, so we're gonna finish this really quick because I got some logging out to do and stuff.
Okay.
Maybe about 2 more minutes after this, and then
All right.
Talk about extreme.
talk about extreme.
You know I had to throw Carney in there.
Talk about extreme. He's a psycho.
Yeah.
All right. So here we are. And I just want to thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you. Well, look, Bill, thank you for having me here. This was a blast.
It's cool, and
you
you
gotta do it again sometime.
And you are welcome here, and we will do it again sometime.
Right.
I want to hear your new releases. I want you to tell me the stories. We didn't even talk about that smoky the meat smoker on the corner of Clark and Tui. We didn't talk about those chamber days.
Yeah.
We didn't talk about. We've got a lot to cover.
Okay.
I'd love to have you come back, and
I would definitely love to come back.
And I'd like to talk to you about your podcast as well, Tinman Live,
okay.
because you're covering some interesting stuff there too, like the streets of LA and all
Chicago.
Kinds of things.
Yeah. I got a gimbal now. Remember one day I showed you the gimbal, and I'll be doing some street roaming also as well.
Yeah, and
this summer.
You were telling me something about a drone too.
Yeah, I was contemplating buying a drone.
Yeah.
We're going to be moving the studios over the next couple of months. And so I want to wait to purchase the drone after I've established the new location of the studio.
All right. Well, we gotta get moving. Thank you so much, Mark.
Thank you, Bill.
Mark Finley. Remember him and
thank you, audience, the WLUW family.
And this is Trudy Leung Interviews on WLUW 88.7 FM. Chicago Sound Alliance, broadcasting from Loyola University, Chicago, Water Tower campus. I hope you have a great Sunday for Trudy Leung and myself. And thank you again, Mark.
Thank you. Peace.
Now let's see.
Starting the podcast. Well, we've got.
All right, so let me just. Why don't you just go on out there and I'll just do my thing real quick.
Multi-track sessions for podcasts.
Whoops.
Live streaming for YouTube and Facebook.
Could you grab those two and just move them out there?
Live audio editing.
Thank you.
Loyola alumni and current year residents
I'm not playing your set. You don't like either? No.
How you doing? How y'all doing?
I'm so sorry to interrupt your set.
No.
But we
You
needed
didn't
some
interrupt.
Wi-Fi. It's to make our set for now.
Hey.